So we're going to talk today about Oasis Network, the price pump. What should he do though? Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you are new, make sure you have subscribed, slap that bell button and leave a like. It really does help. Now, spoke about this ages ago. I'll go over it on the screen in terms of what this is, why it's so important to you basically as an investor to understand what happens in a little bit of a parabolic spell. It's gone pretty crazy, as have a few assets as well. Avalanche has done amazing over the last few days and few weeks, especially crypto.com, another one that's done great. There's others out there, but this video here is all about obviously Oasis Network, the Rose ticker, in terms of price analysis, but visually and audible kind of elements to this video is key. You can apply this to any asset, right? FOMO, the fear of missing out, is massive, right? There's no such thing, in my opinion, as like seller remorse, because if profit is profit, that's fine, it's survival. But buyer's remorse is usually the worst, and I mean that, because if you buy a top, for example, and it could be a short-term top, but psychologically, you may think, ooh, this is not good. I'm in a lot of drawdown, I might de-risk, therefore a loss in your bags. I know someone's going to come and go, well, hindsight. Hindsight is great, but also people are going to be like, well, just hodl, which then that hindsight will come great as well, because hodling your bags forever is also risky. It's not guaranteed, right? So again, taking profit, picking your battles, and most importantly, understanding what you're buying. So let's look at it. Rose, Oasis Network, it is now in the top 100. Let's go over what it is in case you don't know what it is. I've mentioned this before. It's all about basically a privacy enabled blockchain. It always has, and it always reminded me of the likes of Phantom in terms of how it looks visually with the blue. And you can see here why a lot of coins have done very well recently, like Avalanche as an example, Phantom as an example, Elrond's done well recently. A lot of blockchain interfaces and structures essentially have done very well, and this is a one where it's all about responsibility of data as well. It's a simple website that will tell you exactly what it is, and you've already seen here, this is huge for scalability. The architecture of a blockchain needs to scale. We've seen that with Ethereum, it doesn't. And this is where things will start to differ between other blockchains, is obviously speed, security, and scalability, right? Simple as that. And Oasis has an element of that where it's a little bit different. So with regards to it, as you know, a lot of blockchain projects are doing well. I still believe there's a few more that are going to do better than what they already are showing. I think Polkadot will do well. I think Solana will still got a long way to go as well in terms of their development. Essentially, it's all about the network effect. The more blockchains that are built upon and utilizing stuff like this will get interesting. Now, this is, I still think, on a small scale. I don't think it's fully ready yet. I don't think it's fully at its capacity. So there could well be still some gains here, which is why I want to talk about it and why I've talked about it in the past. Now, going back in time here when I used to wear a good old hat, and no, I wasn't bald before then. First of March, we were talking here below, you know, quite a nice number, right? Realistically, it's, you know, 9 cents, cool, give or take. So not majorly undervalued, but at the same time, at the time, it was an amazing momentum spike, which we will talk about. Now, in terms of analysis and stuff like that, we do need to talk about it because, like anything, network effect is important, especially with a blockchain, especially with scalability. Anything that can scale, anything that can go onto it will always make a big difference. And when you start seeing basically companies utilize this blockchain, you may well see it be a bit more obvious in terms of the world, in terms of all this, in terms of this element here, which is pretty big, right? Open finance, that is a big genre. Anyways, I've just mentioned the word open finance because finance is huge, right? BlockFi. It's a link below for this, by the way. You can get some free BTC. Now, open finance is essentially the world of finance, right? But traditional banks and traditional methods will not allow you, for example, to lock up, say, $100,000 and earn the amount that you're going to earn. 9.5% interest at the moment. That does vary in terms of market conditions, but you try doing that in a bank. Inflation will kill you. This is a way of getting a bit more out of your money, work it for you, and essentially earn something passive, essentially on savings. So if you got profit, when you may have profit from this asset, certainly look at BlockFi. Link below. Anywho, this is it. So I did the video around here, 1st of March, and went up. We had the market crash, and there was some monstrous opportunities around 4 cents, 5 cents, give or take, around here. And now we're on a gigapump, right? We're on an absolute massive run. And I spoke at the start of this video about profit taking, FOMO, and buyer remorse. Buying at the wrong time, right? Oh, I bought the top, oh God. You know, it's one of the worst feelings in the world. And sorry guys, but there's definitely someone who's bought at the top here and are currently sitting in a nice little 21% decline right now, right? Now, I know someone's going to go, well, it'll probably go up. Yes, it probably will, but you don't want to be in that position, so you make sure you need a dollar cost average. Now, let's look at this in a bit more detail, right? Let's zoom these in. We've had a monster run. We've had a massive impulse, so let's go back in time from basically, we'll go from this point to this level here. We've had a monster run. We've had a boom, off we go, right? We are basically at the previous all-time high levels. We're currently struggling to get above that, i.e. on the 3-day chart. If we go on to the daily time frame, you can see here, it has hit it. It will probably be more relevant here, but let's go a little bit further afield. We literally stopped and turned around at this level here, 0.272, which is quite an important level in the Fibonacci sequence. But where can we go next? This is where we need to find out. I believe that is the top for now. The new candle will print in 1 day and 12 hours. I don't think it'll go higher, but it might. We'll see. So we need to reset. We need to restart again and go from this impulse here. We've had a pullback. We've had an impulse. We've pulled back again. We then created a higher low, which is important. And now we've created the new higher high, which is very, very important, right, in terms of trend direction. So if we are going to look from this point here, we are currently zipping right the way back down. And we are going quite significantly down. But again, just put this a little bit closer so we can see it when I go to the daily, because I'm always terrible for that. Go to the daily, there we go, you can see it. So this is where we are right now. We are currently, and we already have tapped this 382 level. So maybe this whole, I think this level here, in and around where this region here is probably going to be where demand is, where the wicks have been, where it stopped and failed before. There's a lot of FOMO. There's a lot of people that want to buy into this. It's currently down quite significantly on the day already. But realistically, it's still an opportunity for people to get in. Especially if you look at all the other blockchains that I've said that have done incredibly well over the last coming weeks. This is a one that's done very, very well. And as you can see, huge run. But there's other situations that we need to look at. Let's look at where we have topped out in terms of the daily structure. So that level there, for me, looks like demand. If we're going to go from low to high here, we have hit, as you can imagine here again, this level here, right? This level, did it the other way around, it's still in confluence. It's now the 1.272 level, not the 0. Or the minus 0.272. So that level there is obviously key. So guess what we can do with that one, boys and girls? Very, very simply. That is the level we need to break. If we break this level in the future, we're going to go on another price discovery run. And that is where we could be getting some more futuristic targets. So I think the buyers will probably step in here and we may get slingshot again upwards. That's my personal force of financial advice. Usually how trend structure works, especially if you look at the weekly time frame, it will probably become very, very obvious. Impulse, pull back, create a new high, pull back, create a new high potentially. Still, we could go much higher. The RSI currently right now is at 70%. That could go higher because in the past, it has been much higher and much lower price. So there's still, in my opinion, potential volume could be coming in, could get interesting. But let's look at future targets. Going back again onto the weekly, going from the start of the impulse to where we could go. Well, we could look at much higher. Not massively higher, but enough. 65 cents could be a level. 55 cents could also be a level where it could go in terms of the next price discovery mode. That's the element that we need to look at. Where can it go? What is the price analysis going to be if we are going to start looking at maybe, if say if it is around roughly where this demand level is, if it is going to grow another 57%, if it is going to grow another 87%, so for that, not massive, it's not overzealous, it's not going to be like, oh, look at me, it's going to go to $10. No, come on. You got to go in stages, and this is still a massive pump considering, you know, middle of the summer, it was roughly around 4 cents. So if it was to go from 4 cents to 65 cents in a matter of like 6-7 months, that's a big deal. It's a huge deal. So definitely some room to grow, but I don't think it's going to go absolutely ballistic. But I could be wrong. Other ones have. But it's a 1.2 billion market cap coin now. I could see this definitely going into like the 2 billion plus, 3 billion plus. Certainly potentially cement itself in the top 100, which it seems to be doing now. Certainly with a nice little correction still there. A lot of coins have dropped out the top 100. You've probably already noticed, if we go down to like the, you know, go down to the bottom here, there's a lot of coins absent now that used to be here. There's a lot of coins that are now back in there, like Electronium's in there. Akasha Network, which I mentioned loads, is now in the top 100. The likes of Zilliqa is out of the top 100 as an example. There's quite a few out of it, which is always of interest. Reef is back in it. You know, although the metric's not the greatest realistically in terms of market cap, but you get the gist. Anyways, au revoir, bye-bye. Make sure you, though, watch that video. The profit taken, you need it. Trust me.